Welcome back to Taekwondo, bro. Today we're doing a cool video. It's going to be our breakdown of the karate style punch. Now you see this a lot in karate when they dash forward, they punch like that. So the question is, why would you want to do this, and what reasons do they have, for trying it this way? Because a lot of different martial arts don't punch like that. So as you see, I'm dashing in, dashing out as I punch. Now what this lets you do is it lets you hit a lot harder because you have the whole momentum of you moving now, hitting you. And it also lets you move in and out. So this isn't really a close range technique. Like if you were up in front of your opponent, you wouldn't want to do this. But this is a great way to control distance at like a longer range type of fight. So definitely try this out. It's another technique you can add to your arsenal. So we're going to get started on the basics in just a second, but just watch how I move in and out real quick. So you have to have your feet push you. Like the front one pushes you back, the back one pushes you forward. We'll get to that in a second though. So the beginning part of this technique is going to be that hip twist. Now you see this a lot, and they use like traditional martial arts punches. Now what this lets you do is it lets you get a little bit more range out of your punch because you're twisting your shoulder all the way up to the front. It also lets you get a lot more follow through, and you can hit harder because you're getting your hips involved instead of just your arms. So this is more muscle pushing it. It's going to hit harder. Now that front hand, when it drops like that, look, you see how it pulls back. Now the official reason for that, they say, is to generate more power, but I've seen people contest that. And they say the real reason is that the front hand would be pulling the opponent's guard down. So imagine that the punching bag has arms, and I'm pulling it down, and I can punch over the top. So that's how you can imagine it. Now, you can also just do this type of reverse punch, but have the other hand, stay up in front of you, so it wouldn't move back as far. You're still twisting the hips, still getting all those advantages, except, you're facing, going to get punched now. Well, maybe, who knows. But what's important here is that you have a good stance too, because if you have a bad stance, you're not going to be able to really put that power in. You're going to recoil back in the wrong direction, and then you're also susceptible to just getting pushed over or sweeps or something like that. So this next clip here, we're going to work on what the legs are doing, because the legs are really important in this punch. So even though I'm not moving yet, I'm still like right in front of the bag. I'm going to be pushing with that back foot, and it's not a lot. It's just a little bit more of a twist, but you're just getting that much more out of your punch. Now this is important for two reasons. That one, you're getting a little bit more out, which is important, but also this is the basis of how you're going to do that dashing in punch. If you want to move in, the back leg has to propel you. So that means you're going to have to be able to incorporate it into the technique. So once you get used to giving that little push on the back leg, we can start doing the dash forward. So we'll do that in just a second. But just watch up here. And you can also see I'm doing a little bit of a lean forward as I punch. So now we're going to incorporate like a jab into this, because it does flow pretty well. So as you see, there's a little bit of hip twist on the jab too, but the jab goes forward and it just leaves you in a perfect position to set up your cross punch because you're already twisted like that. And you see, now I'm not punching this bag faster because it takes a while for it to like rebound back up to me. If it was a heavier bag, I could do this combo like way quicker. But here, we're just showing technique right now, so it doesn't matter. So this hip twist lets you hit that much harder. Again, I've said it like a million times. So just try it. And also when you're doing the jab, make sure to retract the arm all the way so you have a guard hand. You don't want to just go 1-2-1, and then not do anything about your arms, because you're leaving yourself open to attack. Okay, this one we're going to be working on the dashing forward part. So it's pretty much the same punch, except now you're going to lift your front leg and the back leg is going to push you forward. Now, I could get a little bit more range than this, but the area I'm filming in is kind of small, so I can't like extend 100%. But just watch the technique, it really doesn't change. So you push forward, and you can twist. Now, you can have the front hand, it can stay up as a guard, or it can twist back all the way, whatever you want. But the most important part of this technique isn't actually moving in, it's going to be moving out. So you're going to need to be able to retreat as you do the thing. Okay, so now we're going to do a front kick into a cross punch. Now what this really does good is that if you throw a front kick and then your opponent tries to rush into you, that cross can help keep the distance. So the second that the front kick bends back is the second you punch. If you do the front kick, touch the floor, and then punch, it's just going to be a little bit slower, and you don't want that, especially if they're rushing towards you, because you're probably not going to have time. So when you're doing this technique, the second you start bending that knee back, launch that reverse punch. Now, how high does a front kick need to be? Well, it really doesn't need to be any height. You can go for head, you can go for body. It's not going to really change anything. Now, just in personal experience, when someone's rushing towards you, punching towards their head would probably be more effective, but if their guard is too high, you might be able to sneak under and hit their stomach, which would be pretty cool. So now, also one thing is that don't get sloppy with your stance here. A lot of people, they get like excited and they forget about it, so they throw this front kick, and then they just land back in this weird position, and it's not really that good. So just make sure when you pull back, it's in the right position, because then your reverse punch will just be stronger, and you're less likely to like fall over or lose your footing, or just be slower in general. So just try to keep that in mind. And what we're going to work on next is the next iteration of this technique, which is going to be like a double. So watch here. So you go in, pull out, and then go back in again. So what we're doing is we're like strafing around our opponent. Now you'd want to do this towards their back, not towards their like forward, because if you get around their back, you can get some really good techniques in. Like they can't really hit you from the back unless they do a turning kick, so their counterattacks are pretty limited. You could also get a good sweep on them, or just unload a combination on them. They really wouldn't be able to do that much unless they moved. So again, getting on the back is pretty good. So now watch here. I drop pretty low when I'm doing this reverse punch. Now that would be if I'm aiming towards the stomach. I mean, yeah, you could go for the head here, but strafing around, you might want to be lower just so you're a little bit quicker. And again, what's super important about this one is that you're able to like push out. So not just moving forward, but you have to be able to dash backwards too. Okay, this is the last one we're going to do today. It's the jab cross, but we're going to be moving forward. Now the first jab, you would be aiming it at the person in real life, and they're going to be retreating. So this is going to be done on a retreating opponent. You're going to chase them. So you're doing 2 dashes now. So dash, step, and then dash again. And then, of course, you got to be able to explode back out, unless you want to be super close to your opponent the whole time. So we're going to get going on that. So if you can get that technique down, what it lets you do is it lets you chase away your opponent even though they're running away. Because some people, when they spar, they just like to back up a lot. So if you're able to chase them down and keep the pressure on them, it's a great way to win that engagement. Again, what's really important here, more than anything else, is calf strength. So if you're working on muscles, your calves are important, because that's what gives you that boost of energy right there. Lets you extend. If you have weak calf muscles, you can kind of struggle with this one. So just work on those if you can. There's a lot of exercises you can do. And again, just like always, I really hope you enjoyed this video. This is a breakdown of that karate style punch that you see sometimes, and then the advantages of it. So I hope you now understand that, and then you can add this technique to your arsenal, because there's a lot of cool combinations you can do with it, whether it's chasing down your opponent or using it to strafe around the side, or maybe you just want to hit a little bit above your weight class and this is a good punch for you. So anyway, I hope you practice that. I hope you had a great time, and I'll see you guys next time.